Well, welcome back, Old Gits. And a beautiful morning coming up here in Western Australia. And we're away. We're walking. So, a little story about Bradford. So we came to Australia. Long story short, joined a little golf society. Not a golf club, it's a group of people that just play at a public golf course. So I joined this little group in 2008, I think it was. Made a little circle of friends, about 7 or 8 guys, similar sort of age, all moved across to Australia. Not that nobody knew anybody, they didn't. So a little group of guys, similar sort of age, similar sort of things in common, came across from the UK around about 2006, some a few years before, some a little bit after, but all within a few years of each other, and all a similar sort of age, early mid-40s, 1 or 2 older slightly, 1 or 2 younger slightly, but lovely, still my friends to this day, to be honest. And we organise a weekend away once a year, or because of what's been going on lately with the world shutting down, and that was put off a little bit, but that's another story. So yeah, we all get together that way. So, but on one of the first occasions, you're getting to know people, and oh yeah, when did you come here, mate, and where you from, and all that sort of thing, just to have a polite conversation within the round of golf. Get talking to this guy called David, still a good friend of mine, David, and says, oh yeah, where you from, David? He says, oh yeah, I'm from down south, you know, down southwest, basically, Devon, Cornwall, if you can imagine the UK, the southwest of the UK, what I would class as a southerner, and he would class me as a northerner. Actually saying that within our group, I think there was me, the furthest north really, in Bradford. I think Graham, he was from Manchester, and that was it. The rest were from, yeah, John was from Notties, he's from Nottingham. Richard, you don't say Richard's from Birmingham, because he's not from Wolverhampton, but nothing to do with Birmingham. Richard's nothing to do with Birmingham. Okay, Richard. And Darren from Bristol, Barry from Bournemouth, where Carlton was from as well, and Dave from the south, out a little bit there in the southwest. So I'm talking to Dave, and he's saying, oh, where are you from, Ian? I says, oh, I'm from Bradford. He says, oh, all right. And I'm telling him a thing about his history, about, you know, my business and selling the double glazing business and the machines and all that, and getting into property rentals and things over the years, and then up and coming to Australia. So David says, oh yeah, he says, me and my missus once went to Bradford. I says, oh yeah. He says, yeah. He says, you know, they were all getting into this thing on TV, buy properties and, you know, paint the front door and put a bit of wood chip wallpaper up and paint it magnolia, and you'll make 20,000 quid in 2 weeks. You know, Sarah Beanie, thank you. But yeah, he says, yeah, me and my missus were looking at houses, and you were scouring the internet or whatever at that time, however it was, you know, very basic probably. He says, and this house came up, Manningham, Bradford. He says, big house, big detached house, like 6 or 7 bedroom house or something in Manningham. And I said, yeah, I can understand that, there's some beautiful houses there. Manningham Lane, Manningham, going out there to Saltaire, all from the Industrial Revolution, the textile industry that obviously Bradford was famous for in the mid 19th century to the late 19th century, you know, whenever the Industrial Revolution started, the 1800s, early 1800s to the late 1900s, the thick of it, Bradford, I believe, had more millionaires than any other city in the world. Could be wrong, Google it, I don't know, but I did hear somebody saying that the other day when I was watching a programme on Bradford. Anyway, back to the story. So David said, oh yeah, we're looking at this house, and yeah, 7 bedroom mansion in Manningham in Bradford, set in its own grounds. And I think he said it was something like 40 or 50,000 pounds at that time. It would have been the mid-90s, which correlates with the time me and my missus were buying the old terraced houses in the mid-90s. And so I thought, well, yeah, that's doesn't seem too far out of the imagination, depending what condition it was in. Ended up having a drive up to Bradford to actually view this house. And he said, we're going there, and he says, we're past the stadium, Valley Parade. So it was Manningham, yeah, that's where Valley Parade is, there on Manningham Lane, or just off Manningham Lane anyway. And he said, yeah, we come up to this house, and oh, he said, blimey heck, this is absolutely beautiful. This lovely dear old lady answers the door and says, come in, and shows us around the huge entrance lobby and the formal guest entrance rooms and things like that. He said it's a mansion. And she just stood back and she said, look, I'll leave you to look around the rest of the house, take as long as you want, have a look around the outside, and I'll see you whenever I see you. So he said, oh, me and the missus took off, and we're looking around this blooming mansion. And he says, and then we go outside, out the back, and he said, wouldn't you know it, it's got a proper, the old English walled garden. He says, proper English walled garden there. He says, and me and my missus are looking at each other saying, £50,000, £50,000. I says, yeah, go on. And he says, yeah, so we're walking around this walled garden. He says, and I come with this back gate in the wall. And he says, oh, I wonder what's behind this gate. He says, anyway, he says, I opened the gate, and he says, I thought I'd gone into a time slip. He says, I was in another country. And I can let you guess which country he thought he was in. And he certainly wasn't the UK, put it that way. And he says, I actually did a double take. He says, I shut the gate, and he said, I looked at my missus, he says, I will just confirm this. He says, this is crazy. He says, and I opened the gate, and he said, me and my missus looked out, we both just looked gobsmacked at each other. He says, well, it's a different country out there, outside the back garden. And we shut the gate, and we just looked at each other and thought, oh no, 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 no. So they went in. So we went in and had a chat with the lady, and he said you could tell by the look on her face that she knew what had happened. And he said, the lady just said, you opened the back gate, didn't you? And David said, yeah, I did. And all she said was, I'm really sorry. And that was it. He says, we made our excuses and left, and never went back to Bradford before. So whether she eventually sold the house, she will have done, because that is going back 30 years. So strange, well, not strange, I can believe the story, very believable, and there's no reason for David to tell me anything other. And what he said, the words he said, the area he described, he'd been there, that's for sure. So it wasn't a made up story. And he said, no, he said, we never did get into the property thing like that. He says he had a career within the British Army. He says my career was really taking off, get promoted and things. He says, and that was it. We concentrated on that, and his wife was in nursing, midwifery. So she was concentrating on that more, and he said we didn't get time then to look at doing other things outside of concentrating on his own careers. So that was my friend David's experience of Bradford. And a couple of others have been, and yeah, my friend Carlton, got to see him yet because he was going back to the UK, and he said, Ian, he didn't believe some of the stories I would tell him, like me carrying a baseball bat around with me in my van. And the unfortunate thing is I was ready to use it as well. Not a nice thing to say, but But yeah, people don't believe you when you say that. And yeah, how was it? It was a terrible situation to be in. So yeah, carrying a baseball bat around and not thinking anything about using it. That's the state of mind Bradford got me into, my missus into, and one of the major reasons why we made the decision to leave. And yeah, it'd be interesting to catch up with my friend Carlton and see if he actually ever did get back and feel brave and go and visit Bradford. Whether he drove around, I hope he drove around with the windows up and the doors locked. But anyway, that's my little tale of Bradford. Hopefully that'll tick over 21 kilometres. There you go. 21 kilometres at 6.4 kilometres an hour. 3 hours 17 minutes. Well, thank you very much for joining us this morning. You Old Gits, like, subscribe, push the bells, ring the button, and I hope you enjoyed my little story about my hometown of Bradford, and we'll catch you on the next one.